Greetings BookTube, I'm Anders, and I can't believe it's been a whole year since I posted my first video. I also can't believe so many of you actually wants to watch the videos I make. Thank you. Anyhow, to celebrate this momentous occasion, I decided to make this Q&A video. I got a bunch of questions off of the video where I asked for questions, so now I'm going to try to answer all of them. And I apologize if I mispronounce any of your names. Mr. Rurosori asks, what are some of your favorite movies? Well, I can't list all of them, but I have to say Monty Python and the Holy Grail is one of the most awesome movies ever made. He also asks, what are some of my favorite TV series? And off the top of my head, I have to say Friends, Firefly, and Mythbusters. None of them are still on TV. And the final question from him is, what are some of your favorite Christmas traditions? Here's the thing, I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. Although, when we were kids, I used to love baking gingerbread cookies with my siblings and my mom a few days before Christmas. So I guess that. Next up, we have a few questions from Brit. Who or what inspired you to start a BookTube channel? I had been watching BookTube videos for a long time, and then I talked to Samantha from Sam's Nonsense, and I told her I was thinking about starting my own BookTube channel, and she gave me the push I needed to actually do it 6 months later. Next question, do you have a preference for books in Swedish, translated works, or just Swedish books in general? No. I don't read that many Swedish books, and translations into Swedish are, in my experience, usually pretty bad. If a book was written in English, I'd rather read it in English. And if it was written in any other language, the English translation is usually better than the Swedish translation. But if I can't find the English translation, I will read the Swedish one. Now we have some questions from JBBYT. What is your current day-to-day job? My current day-to-day job is unemployment. It sucks, but it's true. Although it gives me a lot of time to read. How do you find time to read books with the demands of your job? Let's say hypothetically that I had a job. I mostly read in bed for an hour or so before going to sleep. So even if I had a job, I still could have managed it. And he also asks, what beverages do you like to have while reading? I don't like to eat or drink anything while reading. Next up, we have some questions from my real-life friend, Lorian. What was your favorite book as a child? I'm not completely sure which my favorite book was, but I know I really liked a book called Buford the Little Bighorn by Bill Peet. And also when I got a bit older, like 4, 5, 6 years old, I really liked Paddington. Me and my siblings had 2 Paddington books each. What do you like or dislike about Sweden? If I'm going to answer that completely, it will be a very, very long video. So I'm just going to say one thing I like and one thing I don't like. I like allemansrätten, which literally translates to the everyman's rights, but generally translates to the right of public access. I'll leave a link in the description where you can read more about it. And I dislike how hard it is to find a job. What are your favorite rock or metal bands? I think you already know the answer to this one, but the other people don't. So I'm going to list a few of them. Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Alice in Chains, Mötley Crüe, and Skid Row, and probably a dozen others. What are your favorite movie soundtracks? I really like the score from The Piano and also the original Star Wars movies. Actually, most of the Star Wars movies have great scores. And then we have some questions from one Natulsian. How did you get into reading? I actually don't know. Ever since I was a very young child, I always loved hearing stories. And later, when I learned how to read, which I don't know when that was, I just kept going. What's your favorite genre? Fantasy, followed by science fiction. Do you have any hobbies besides reading? Yes. Oh, you wanted to know what they are? Well, I like playing video games, for example. And lastly, we have some questions from Farah from A BookTube Book. Name a book that changed your life. This is a really hard one to answer. I think all books change you in some way. I'm going to go with The Book of Three, the first book in the Chronicles of Prydain by Lloyd Alexander. I think it was the first big fantasy book I read, and also the first book where I really felt that I was the hero of the story. And if it wasn't that one, it was Oversea Under Stone by Susan Cooper, the first book in the Dark is Rising sequence. Those were all the questions. Thanks for watching for a whole year. Have a great 2017, and until next time.